Okay, let me ask you something. What could a blockbuster movie, your favorite song, and the very street you live on possibly have in common? The answer? Well, it's a story. And it's way more powerful than you might think. Today, we're going to dive into how this ancient art of narrative is totally changing the game for how we build our cities. Let's kick things off with this incredible line from Hamilton. Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? On the surface, it's about history, about legacy, but it's also about something else, something really crucial, power. Because at the end of the day, the story that gets told, that's the one that sticks. That's the one that shapes what comes next. So that brings us to the big question here. What does a musical have to do with urban planning? It sounds kind of crazy, right? You've got these two totally separate worlds. One is all about art, feelings, history. The other, it's zoning laws, infrastructure, hard data. But what if they aren't separate at all? What if they're actually deeply connected? The thing is, we're all just wired for story. It's baked right into our DNA. It's how we make sense of the world, how we connect with each other, how we figure out where we fit in. Think about it. It's why you can't stop binge watching that new series, or why a certain song just gets stuck in your head. Our brains are always looking for a narrative. And here you can really see that clash. It's like a tale of two worlds. Over here, you've got storytelling. It's all about emotions, connection, the human stuff. And then over there, you have urban planning. We're talking data, zoning, infrastructure. Super technical, super logical. They seem like they're from different planets, right? But here's the big idea, the secret sauce. What if the bridge between that technical plan and an actual community is a story? Because a plan, no matter how brilliant it is really just numbers and lines on a page. To make it real, to get people excited about it, to make them believe in it, you need a story. That's the bridge. It connects the blueprint to the actual people who are going to live there. And this isn't just some fuzzy, abstract concept. Professionals who do this well use a really clear two-pronged approach. First up is story gathering. This is all about listening, and I mean really listening. Not just to the people who show up at every meeting, but digging for those hidden stories, the ones that truly define a place. And then there's storytelling. That's where you take all those individual threads and weave them together into one big shared vision for the future, a story that everyone can see themselves in. Okay, so if you're going to build that bridge, you don't have to start from scratch. There are these timeless blueprints for telling great stories that have been around forever. Which brings us to the art of the story. So one of the simplest, most powerful structures out there is something the writer Kurt Vonnegut called the man in a hole story. It's super simple. You've got a character, they're doing just fine, then bam, they fall into a hole, some kind of crisis. And then the rest of the story is about them climbing out and ending up in a better place than where they started. Just think about that for a second. A struggling neighborhood, a community coming together, it's a perfect fit. And what's so wild is how timeless this idea is. You've got Aristotle, like way back in ancient Greece, mapping out the classic narrative arc. And then fast forward over 2,000 years and you have Kurt Vonnegut with his man in a hole. It's basically the same thing. And the reason it works, the reason it's stuck around for so long, is because it perfectly mirrors our own lives, the ups and downs we all go through. Seriously, this isn't some new fad. Storytelling has been with us from the very beginning. Scientists think it evolved right alongside language, maybe 100,000 years ago. That same structure Aristotle wrote about, it's the same one Shakespeare used. It's the same one Taylor Swift uses today to write a #1 hit. It's this narrative DNA that's been passed down through all of human history. Okay, so we've talked about the art, but this isn't just about feelings and creativity. There is hard science behind why stories have such an incredible grip on us. So let's talk about your brain on narrative. When you hear a really good story, your brain just lights up. It's like a chemical cocktail. You get a rush of oxytocin. That's the empathy molecule. It makes you feel connected and builds trust. Then there's dopamine, which helps you focus and remember things. Cortisol gets you emotionally invested. And endorphins, they just make it feel good. A story isn't just words, it is literally changing your brain chemistry in real time. All right, take a look at this number, 50,000. Just let that sink in for a second. It's a massive number. So, what in the world is it? Well, that is the number of brain observations that neuroscientist Paul J. Zak based his research on, 50,000. And his work gives us stone-cold proof that stories do more than just entertain us, they persuade us, they can actually shift our beliefs, and they build that trust and empathy you need for people to come together and do something big. This isn't just a theory, It's a scientific fact. So let's recap. We've got thousands of years of art, and we've got hard neuroscience all telling us the same thing. Stories are incredibly powerful. We know they work, which brings us to one final and pretty important unanswered question. If storytelling is this powerful, why aren't we teaching it in university planning programs? And why don't most design, planning, or architecture firms actually invest in it? Why aren't they hiring for this? And why isn't it just a standard part of project budgets and proposals? It just seems like there's this huge gap between what we know works and what we're actually doing. And maybe this is why it matters so much. In a world that can feel so divided, stories do the exact opposite of what a spreadsheet or a debate does. They don't focus on what separates us. They show us what we all have in common. They remind us that every plan, every building, every single street in every city, it's all about us. It's about people, and it's about the stories we share.